Let's now talk about the real-life examples and implementations of the smart contracts. And we will start with ERC-20, the standard for creation of fungible tokens. Before we start though, let's have a look at what ERC standard actually is. Ethereum Request for Comments. It's a document that allows developers who are building smart contracts on the Ethereum blockchain to create new tokens that have to follow a certain set of rules. You must have heard about EIP as well. EIP, which is the Ethereum Improvement Proposal, is the process in which those ERCs are actually reviewed. But coming back to ERC-20 itself, what does it do? Well, it allows the developers to build fungible tokens. Fungible meaning interchangeable, so that we can exchange one ETH for exactly one ETH. Moreover, those tokens are exchangeable, which means that different tokens, like for example DAI and ETH, can be also exchanged, and they are not unique to each other, but they are exchanged at a specific conversion rate. And lastly, ERC-20 can be understood as a base for the tokens, a base for creation other tokens that are built on top of the Ethereum blockchain. And if this is still not clear for you, then have a think about your apartment, about all the different devices that you own and your wall sockets. Yes, wall sockets, the sockets for electricity. And now imagine that all the devices have different plugs, so that out of your 10 devices, you can only actually plug one into your wall and you cannot use all the other ones. It would be a nightmare for you to be able to find all the adapters for all your different tools, or to figure out a way to install different wall sockets that would fit the plugs that your devices have. And that's why all the manufacturers are creating devices with the same universal plug that you can just stack into your wall and you can start using the device. And this standardization is exactly what ERC-20 does. The crypto exchanges do not have to provide that adapter, any specific code, in order to allow the users to exchange the tokens between each other. And ERC provides that universal plug for all the tokens, and the exchange can be done in a very seamless and smooth way. Let's have a look now at the ERC-20 standard, and we will actually have a look at the discussion that happened on GitHub when someone came up with the idea for the first time. We are currently located on the Ethereum repository on GitHub, which is a platform for storing and sharing code and also discussing code. And this is exactly why we are currently here. As you can see, we are in the EIPs folder repository, where you can see an ERC token standard #20. This is something called an issue that was created on the repository. Issues, which you can see here, can be created by anyone. As you can see also, I'm not logged into my account, so if you don't have an account on GitHub, you can also have a look at it yourself. And the issues are created when there's a problem, when someone has an idea and would like to discuss it with the community that is involved in that particular repository. And in this case, in November 2015, someone created a new issue suggesting creation of a token standard. And this issue was the 20th issue that was created on that repo. When I say repo, I mean repository. Sorry for the coding slang. So as you can see, we now can kind of understand where does the ERC-20 come from. If we will go down, you can see that this issue has different parts. Basically, it explains the motivation, saying that the standard will allow dApps and wallets to handle tokens across multiple interfaces and dApps. It will also allow exchanging the different tokens between each other. In the specification, what we can find are the methods that were proposed by the author of that issue, and we can actually have a look at some of them. What you can see here is an interface. So what we saw before in the Solidity one-on-one video is that we had a function with a name, with the information what does it return, and also there were the curly brackets and some code inside. In this case, interface is kind of like a summary that gives you an overview of what the function is with the explanation of what it does without the actual code. So here you should think about it as an idea of what this function should do and what it should receive as an input and give as an output. Here, the total supply doesn't take any arguments, so as you can see here, the parentheses are empty, but we know that it returns a number, the unsigned integer, which is called total supply, and this is the total amount of the token that's been created. Then what we have is a transfer from function, which is sending value amount of tokens from address from to address to. What does it mean? If we look at the code, we can see that this is the function name, transfer from, and it takes 3 different arguments as an input. Starting from an address from, we go to the address to, and we also have the value passed to it as well, which basically means that this function will make sure that this value that was provided to it will be sent from this address, which behind that underscore from, there is an actual address of a specific user or a specific account, a contract. More on the contracts and accounts in the next module. It will be sent to the second address specified here as well. Then another interesting function to look at is the approve function. This function allows a spender, which is provided here as the first argument, to withdraw from your account multiple times, so the withdrawals can happen one after another, up to the specified value amount, which is passed here as the second argument. It basically means that I can allow Benny to withdraw up to 10 ETH from my account. If he did that, if he took already 10 ETH and he wants to withdraw something again, he won't be able to do that because I set a limit to the amount that he can actually take out of my token contract. So let's actually have a look what is happening below, because the specification and the comment itself is there, but after it was posted, many people took part in the discussion, providing feedback, listing some concerns, and trying to find the best version of the standard that actually should be created and used as the basis for the different tokens that would be created on the Ethereum blockchain. And after this long discussion, what happened is that the standard was updated and approved, and you can also see it here in a file that was uploaded as the source of truth for the particular token. So the official version here in the EIP-20 file, MD basically stands for Markdown. So a specific formatting language that allows you to use headings and tables and dividers and all the other things so that the document is easier to read for the user. And what we have here is the finalized information with the simple summary, motivation, again, the specification. And also, if we will scroll down, what you can see are the examples of implementation. So examples of the smart contracts that have been built on top of the ERC standard. So remember, ERC-20 itself is not a token. It's just the set of rules that has to be used by the tokens built that are using it so that they can be exchangeable altogether. And we can have a look at the Open Zeppelin implementation. And what you can see here is that actually on GitHub, we can also see the smart contract. We can have a look at the code. So Etherscan is not the only place where you can have a look at smart contracts. There are many different tools, GitHub being one of them. So what we can see is that the contract starts in line 13, contract ERC-20, and below what we can find is the total supply function that we've seen before. We can also see the approve function, and maybe we can dive a bit deeper here. As you can see, it takes the parameters, the arguments of the spender, so who can withdraw the value, and the value itself. We also know that the function returns a Boolean. So basically, if the approval went well, we will receive true Boolean back from this function. If something went wrong, it will return false, so that it will inform us that the approval didn't go through. In line 82, you can see that we update an underscore allowed variable. If you ever see the underscore in front of the variable, it means that this variable is internal to that particular smart contract. So another contract cannot use it, cannot see it and take it out of this code. So we are changing this allowed variable, and we say that the value that can be withdrawn by a specified spender is equal to the value that was provided to this function. So we basically set it in stone. Next thing that we do is that we emit an event that will say that the message sender, so basically someone who initiated a transaction that was giving an approval to someone, will allow this spender to withdraw this value out of this contract. And then if this goes through, there is no error, the function will return true. If you want to see more details, you can find this link through our slides. And if you have any questions about the code, feel free to post on the Discord channel.